Well, here we are today at the Indigenous Forum Family Weekend. Great to see so many friendly faces. I don't feel as uncomfortable as I thought I might be. Now, the subject is Owen Glendower. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Owen Glendower.
Yeah, he's my neighbour.
Your neighbour, and give him my regards because I'm almost as old as him. Now, Owen Glendower is probably considered to be one of Wales's greatest patriots, and he was a fine man and he fought for his independence for Wales. But who was Owen Glendower's main enemy? Well, Wales's old enemy, the English. But those days are gone now. We are united, we are allied. I call myself British first, Welsh second. I know that's not a view held by a lot of people, but it's the way I feel. My father, brought up in the Welsh valleys, as myself was, served in the Second World War, and he landed on the Normandy beaches. On his arm he had a tattoo, and that tattoo was a Union Jack. And I said to him, years after I just joined the Royal Navy, "Dad, why are you wearing a Union Jack tattoo on your arm?" And he said, "Because," he said, "this is our flag." And I said, "Our flag?" And he said, "Our flag. Wales, Ireland, Scotland and England. This is our flag and this is what we fight for." He said, "Because without being united, we are nothing." What I'd like to talk to you about is the Wales I knew and the Wales that it is today. Now, I was actually born in England. My father, after the war, moved to England to expand his horizons with my mother, both native Welsh, and we lived in a place called Langley in Buckinghamshire. But after about 11 years, my father started to see that the way things were changing. And he saw the first of the colonisers, the first of the enrichers coming in, and he became worried. He was an intelligent man, one hell of a character. If he was alive today, well, I'll tell you what he said to me, guys, I've got to be honest. Just before he died, he said, "I'm not so sure I would have run up that beach way back in 1944 on the 6th of June into that machine gun nest if I had known this is what was going to happen to our country." But he believed in our country, and that was it. So, at the age of 11, we moved back to Wales, a little place called Nantiglow, the home of the Chartist movements, Rebecca rights, early trade unionism. My great-grandfather was a very big communist, as was my mother, but now she's a British National Party supporter. And the Wales that I grew up in at the age of 11 was a different Wales to what it is today. The school I went to, Garnvac Primary School, was a time of joy, happy memories. During the playtime, you'd go out into the yard and you would see the children playing, and the boys would be kicking the balls around, they'd be fighting, they'd be playing British Bulldog 1, 2, 3. Generally doing what boys do. Occasionally there'd be a fight and the cry would go up around the school, "Free fight, free fight." And the school would come running and the teachers would let them get on with it, and a circle would form and the boys would have a fair fight, shake hands afterwards and become best of friends in later life. As what happened with many of my friends, because as you can imagine, coming down from England at the age of 11, I had to fight my way through the school, but I was accepted eventually. The girls, of course, would be doing something you never see them now, with their skirts tucked into their navy blue knickers. They'd be doing handstands up against the wall, they would be skipping tightrope, playing games you no longer see anymore. Skipping those things, I'd watch them for hours. I was fascinated by these young girls that play with their skipping. Later on I'd probably date half of them, but that's another story. So I watched them and fascinated, and they were playing and they were happy and they were innocent. And then if they wasn't skipping, they were juggling balls, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 balls, never seen anything like it. The children knew how to play. But do the children know how to play today? No, they don't today. Something's changed, something's wrong. It's places like this that will make a change. But at the end of my school working day, and I was studying for my 11 plus then, I was successful, I passed my 11 plus, a bit of a struggle, but I got there. I must confess at the time Welsh schooling was in advance of English schooling, but that's because I was in an English comprehended large numbers of, if you like, the enrichers. Well, after school, I would finish school and I would run home, get changed and run down to the shops just in time to see a van shoot by with Argus on the side and throw a big bundle of newspapers out of the window. Out it would come, the Argus, and that would be my job for the evening, to earn the pocket money to go for the pictures in the week. Even then we were taught independence. So I read up my newspapers, I would deliver them around the houses, state the houses, and there would always be newspapers left over for the evening, and I would get paid on commission if I could sell these papers. Don't forget, now I'm 12, 13, almost 14 tops. And then I would be down there, outside the pubs and the clubs, Argus, 450 winners, selling the papers to the people wanting to know the racing results. And it was a hard life, and sometimes if there was something on at the movies and my friends and my chums wanted me to get a move on, well, the forerunners of the Green Arrow would step up to the line and let's go out, Paul, deliver these newspapers so we can go to the pictures. Now at the time, and I'm going to leap forward a couple of years now, to the age of 15, I joined the Royal Navy and I would come home on leave and I would go for a drink, spend a lot of time in the pubs, and the pubs would be full, and they'd be full of men, and they'd be men either waiting to go on shift or men coming home from work, calling in and having a beer. And the buses would pull up outside the pubs and the clubs, which were full, and the men would pour out, having done their afternoon shift, into the clubs and stuff like that. And there was an atmosphere, there was a community spirit. The men of Wales are proud men. In those days, in the village that I'm talking about, two villages, Blaenor and Nantiglow, there was pride, there was community spirit. Men took pride in their job. They were proud to say that they were minders. They were proud to say that they were steel workers. But those jobs have gone now. Those jobs have gone. I would look up at the mountain on the left, red. The sky would be red. In the daytime, sometimes even the sheep would be red from the dust. You know, but it was a job that the men done. One day, it was redder than usual. Well, we won't talk about that. So the men would come home from working in the steelworks, and some men wouldn't come home. I well remember standing with a young lady and her mother calling her in, "I've something to tell you, you'd better go home to her." And another miner had died. But the men were proud men. They had jobs. They were feeding their families. And now, those jobs have gone. The steelworks of Ebervale is gone. Gone in a deal that we stitched up with Europe. They took away our steelworks. And when they took away our steelworks, they took away our ability to build ships. And when they took away our ability to build ships, they took away our ability to build fishing fleets. They took away our ability to build heavy weapons, to arm ourselves, to defend ourselves. They stripped our country, and they started stripping it in Wales. And when Labour came into power, I thought, will they open up the steelworks again? Because Ebervale Steelworks is closed now. Sold for £1 to someone in India. All those jobs gone. And what did they give the proud men of Wales in return? They give them knicker factories, sandwich factories. Now what sort of men? Okay, there's nothing wrong. Even I wear underwear. Someone's got to make it. I'm sure Vernon wears underwear as well. He does? Good. Okay. Right, but making underwear is no work for proud men. They need hard work, they need physical work, they need work that they can do, that they feel that they are contributing to the upkeep of their family, and they took it away. Another thing, I was involved in the rugby club. And you know what? The biggest problem we had with the rugby club, apart from women and beer with the younger players, was the fact that the players weren't fit. They had lost the ability to be fit. They used to be fit from working underground. They used to be fit from working in the steelworks. They were fit men. They needed very little training. They were fit. And if anyone wants to look to the decline in Welsh rugby, then you've only got to have a look at the fact that the pits and the steelworks have gone. All rather sad. So what is it like today in the village that I grew up, in the village that I loved? Well, it could make you cry. The pubs that I grew up in, where I went to as a boy with my father at the age of 15, when I come home on leave from the first time joining the Royal Navy, shut, boarded up. 45 years I've been drinking in that pub. I'm 62 now. Gone. The rugby club where I helped the young youthful players, the youth section alone, gone. And why is it gone? Because there's no money in the community. Nothing. Shops are gone. The little shops that we tried to support bravely have gone. All we have now is one giant supermarket, a Tesco. And this suits the establishment because who controls the food controls the people. And if you wanted to bring down and destroy the people, how much easier to close down one supermarket in one town? They like centralisation. They like control. They do not like small business. They do not like single private initiative. They don't want you to do anything. They want you, all of you, to be consumers, to be slaves, to not think for yourself. And then one day I thought, no, this is wrong. This is totally wrong. And I was lucky enough to be one of the forerunners on the internet, and I managed to listen to the chairman of the British National Party, Nick Griffin, speaking, and I thought, I've had enough of sitting back doing nothing. I'm going to get out and I'm going to have a go. And I don't care about my age. There's older men than me doing it. There's a man like the chairman prepared to risk his life and his freedom every single day. Then I can do no less than stand up and follow that man. I'm sure you're all agree. Well, you've just ruined a block blinding finish because it's gone completely out of my skull. And if I was writing the Green Arrow, I would say, whoa, get up, and I would walk away and I would come back and I would write it again. But so what is it like now? This depressing little village that I live in. Were any of you to drive through it, you would look up at the hills, the sheep and the valley, and you would think how beautiful that is. It is beautiful, but you can't eat the scenery, you can't eat the view. And when you walk down the street, you'll see that the only shops open, and they're not shops really, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fast food restaurants, full of Turkish people, recently closed down for having a brothel upstairs. Next to it, the Chinese. I like Chinese food incidentally, but so I might keep that one open. And something else, a curry house, and you know, none of it is really real. That is all that is there. All the other shops are depressing, boarded up areas. Steel shutters, because gone are the days when shops had windows in them. If you have a shop with a window in today, you're asking for a brick through it. So everything is shuttered up and boarded up. It's a real ghost town. And so it's beautiful to drive through, but very, very depressing to live in. And the kids, the children, when they came out of school when I was a young man, everybody knew what they were doing. They were either going to go to university if they'd gone on to grammar school or wherever, or they were going to go to the technical colleges. We had technical colleges in those days, and we would produce electricians, we would produce plumbers, we would produce carpenters, and those, if you like, on the more academic side, the grammar school side, they would go on and they would become spit lawyers. Do you know where we can get a good one, Chairman? And so they would go on and do these things. They would become doctors, lawyers and solicitors, and the other side would go on and technical thing. And so they had a future. But even the young ones, the 15-year-olds with no future, sorry, I apologise, not no future, even the young ones without the qualifications did have a future because they already knew where they were going. They were going to this, over the steelworks, and they were going to become an apprentice in that. They were going to go and work on the coal lorries. They were going to go and work in the metal factory. They were going to work in a host of places. They were going to be trainee truck drivers. Incredibly, even then, everybody sort of had a job to go to. But not anymore. The youth have got nothing. Absolutely nothing. All they got, once they finish school, where they're allowed basically to run riot, where they're not frightened, and you shouldn't be frightened of a teacher. I was never frightened of a teacher. Never frightened of a teacher. We had good teachers who could control classes, but we are a different generation. I think I am one of the last of the generation, of the decent generation that was brought up with decency and brought up with values, to a newer generation where the teachers from the 60s, from the Marxist school, from Common Purpose, had started to infiltrate the system, take over and change the minds. And when they started to do that, that is the time I put down that they started to destroy the British people as such. Now, what are we going to do about it? Well, it's going to be too late, isn't it? It's too late for many of those children in the valleys. You know, there's very little that we can offer those people. But there is one thing that we can offer to the people out there, the mothers and the fathers out there now. We can't offer them much, but we can offer them something. We can offer them hope. We can offer them hope for their children, for their grandchildren, because it doesn't matter how base you are, there is something inside of a man which will always make you care for his children or his grandchildren. If he doesn't, he's not a man, and he's not worth bothering with. So this is what we must do. We must reach those people, and we must give them hope. And we mustn't lie to them. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to be able to get these jobs back straight away. We're not going to be able to change the education system in a week. It's going to take generations. I won't live through it. Many of us here won't live through it. But we go on hoping that we can build something for those that come after us to do. And then hopefully one day they'll point back and might even look at this bit of video clip and say, that's when things started to change. Now, can we win? The enemy, they're out there. They're amongst us. Things look really desperate. We're under attack every day, 24/7. I know that from being the Green Arrow. Day doesn't go by that I don't receive a death threat. And my postbag is a fraction of the chairman's. So every day they attack because they know that the British National Party is the only organisation that can bring about genuine change. And you say, but wait, the enrichers are having so many children. They're outbreeding us. It's a sad fact but true. I'd like to talk about perhaps what we should be doing to encourage our own kind to have more children. I don't know, special tax relief for people who have children, married man's allowances increased, more money to people to stay home and raise children rather than perhaps have a career. Perhaps these are things that we are going to be looking at. But there is one thing that I do know. I don't expect change to come around in 5 years, 10 years. I expect change to come rapid, very rapid when it does, because the time is coming, as Lenin said actually. Lenin said about the Russian Revolution, he was never heads on to win that, he never ever thought he would win it. However, the situation changed so rapidly that around him Lenin had people, he had a small army of men, probably less men than the British National Party has, who were dedicated, who were committed. And he knew that to win, you didn't need the support of all the people. You didn't need all the people in the population to be political activists, political soldiers. Most people aren't interested in politics. They don't care about politics. They only care about what's in their little world and how things affect them. But they do get dissatisfied, and Lenin knew this. And with that dissatisfaction, what Lenin said, to win, all you need is the dissatisfaction of the masses with the establishment. And then they will rally round the opposition to the establishment. Now, can this happen for the BNP? Well, only we in this room can do that. Only we in this room can prove to the people that we have it within us to lead them. And to do that, we've got to be out on the streets. We've got to show our faces. It's all very well for overweight keyboard warriors like me to sit there and tap away every day. But the only ones who are going to win are the ones who go out and speak to their neighbours. Don't let the neighbours be strangers. Talk to them, go round to them, speak to them, give them their leaflets. And there will come a time, I believe, that we will see a paradigm shift, a sudden change has happened in Romania. And then one day, Prime Minister or his boyfriend, whichever one is which at this moment in time, I'm not sure, will stand up there one day to give a speech, and the people of Britain will be outside, and hopefully, and God willing, he will suffer the same fate as Ceausescu. Thank you.